Hey, thanks for coming by and watching another Kent with Bent. This time we are watching Kent Educates Aron on Humans Are Not Apes. We're starting a few minutes in because the first few minutes were unbearable.
Yeah.
So, if you decide to watch this actual whole video on Kent's channel, trust me, you'll appreciate what I saved you from. So, how does an ape give birth to a non-ape? Illuminati Dawn. It doesn't. That's the quick answer. Alright, here we go.
I came home to absolutely nothing, zero. Didn't own a pair of socks. I lost everything. Okay?
Not the socks.
There's a lot deeper story there than you can imagine.
They didn't send him home with
started,
socks?
I didn't know. I never heard of YouTube
I don't know.
until I got home.
I just screwed something up.
4 years
My
ago.
bad.
The July 13th is the day I got arrested. July 8th is the day I came home. So I've been home for 4 years and 3 days.
Welcome home.
I came home to absolutely zero, nothing. Started a YouTube channel shortly after that. We now have 138,000 subscribers. I'd like you to do something just for the month of July.
That's pretty good.
What is
What did he write on his hand?
It said 877. Does anyone know any significance to that? 877?
Like you in July to contact
Where did he
anybody
lose
you
the
know in
socks?
any social
Real good
media
question.
format, whether it be whatever they all are. Let's see, Foursquare, YouTube, Facebook. I don't even know what half of these things are. Okay, but get hold of all your friends and say, I'd like you to do something. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
It's like the guardian angel number.
Join our 777 club. Number 3, tell your friends about us.
Okay.
These videos that we put out and books will get people saved. We've had probably 6 or 8 million give their heart to the Lord.
How in the world can he know that number?
Well, it's 6 or 8 million, so who knows about those other 2 million?
Yeah, but how can he even think that, like, where does he get this number from? Is that just how many people? Because I really don't think between 6 and 8 million people have contacted his website or his staff or him personally to say, "Dear Dr. Dino, who doesn't know what a dinosaur is, your nonsense saved me from hell." I don't think that has happened.
You don't think he gets between 6 and 8 million of those?
Well, no, I don't think he's ever gotten that. I'm not even sure that 6 million people in the world know who this guy is. Oh, that's probably not true. Nikki, you made it. Hi, Nikki. All right, let's keep going.
Watching our videos and reading, it's amazing. What a great way to reach people, brother. You've seen the videos.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I know.
I
right?
wish I had known this stuff 20 years earlier. It's not original with me. It just glorifies God's work. Get and copy our books and DVDs to reach people over the summer. Get a set of DVDs, or you can buy them off us. You know, we get 18 hour for the whole seminar, and $50. We can't make it any cheaper. But if you want to get some of those, we'll sell them to you in quantity. Now figure out what our cost is and get them to you cheaper yet. But pass them out. Tell your friends and neighbors over the summer. This is a great time to reach them. So when they go back this fall for school, they'll be loaded for bear. Okay? So that's what I'd like you to do in the month of July, just for me. Even you atheists could do that, just for me.
My hashtag fake news uncle.
Help us stay open for free by joining our 777
I don't know what he's
club.
talking
We have
about.
all kinds of stuff going on here. You can donate on drdino.com. Make any checks to CSE. We ask you if you want to be a member of the club. Completely voluntary. We won't even contact you for nothing. But if you can do $1 a day, $31 a month, please help us do that. You can invest.
I just want to point out that Kent's 777 Club was based on him misunderstanding Aaron Ra once pointing out that he had 666 patrons on Patreon. And Ken thought that was some number that he had tried to achieve and was going to hold steady or something, even though like 2 days later it went up to like 669 or something. But for some reason he got it into his head that he's going to have a 777 Club. But if you look at the number he's asking people to donate, it's way more than most people donate on Patreon. Most patrons on Patreon donate between $1 and $5. Like, it is absolutely crazy for Kent to think that he can get 777 people sending him $31 a month. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Like, no, that's ridiculous. Sorry.
In public school kids this summer are special. Julie says a lot of folks are getting that. Great way to reach people that go to a public school. Get all my books, Help, I'm Being Taught Evolution, Help, 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 the Brainwashed book, my whole seminar series, and the video, Reasons Why Evolution is Stupid.
Cedric says that he'll donate up to 50 if they're entertaining enough. Well, someday maybe I'll be that entertaining, but I don't think that's ever going to happen to me. Oops.
Get the whole package for $60. Get a bunch of those and pass them out to your friends. People will sit home and watch a video. You will never get to come to church. All right, now, in First Timothy.
I'll be honest. I feel like if someone said, hey, watch this video by this weird guy in a Hawaiian shirt versus, hey, come to church, I would have way more luck with the whole church thing. Because you know what I happen to know about most churches?
What's that?
Free food after.
What?
Yeah.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah. So, unless this video watching comes with some free pizza, no thanks. I'll sit in for an hour or two in church instead of an hour or two in front of the TV watching Ken Hovind, and then I'll get some free food.
If you just go late to church, you still get the free food.
Is that how that works?
I can confirm, having been a child that went to church. Yes.
All right, so you're saying, oh, and hey, if you all want some really, really good food, go late to the Easter service at a Greek church. And you will get so much Greek food, like the kind of stuff that you get at the Greek festivals, except there won't be a Greek festival and no one's going to charge you money for it. However, the catch is it happens at like 3 a.m., so... you know, but it's 3 a.m. Sunday morning, so...
So get drunk Saturday night.
Right.
And then when you need some food...
Yeah, just go to
church.
Yeah, check when Greek Easter is. Get super sloshed that Saturday night, and then just wander in to like the refectory of a Greek church. You won't regret it until...
You've probably already done it by accident.
Right. That's true, actually. So another thing about... So it's more of a Russian thing, but Greeks do it too. But that after Easter meal usually involves some actual alcohol. Oh, Cedric is actually Orthodox, so he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, check out a Russian church if you ever wanted to just kill yourself with vodka on Easter morning.
Timothy chapter 4, it says, "The Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron." You know, if you sear your skin with an
Ken
iron,
keep talking
you
about
lose the
himself?
nerve feelings. I mean,
He wants people's money?
Can't feel anything. Some people have their conscience seared.
I feel like the people who
We'll talk about
watch
that
him
tonight
are
as
the
we do
type of
another
people who will
round of Whack an
give
Atheist.
$31 a month or pay $60 for videos.
Yeah?
If they're on video cassette. They're old, retired.
Video cassette.
Yeah, they're old and retired, and they still have VCRs.
Oh, man.
And they just write out a check, put it in an envelope, and send it in the mail.
They actually physically write a check and put it in an
Yeah.
envelope.
They might even put cash in there.
Oh. Oh, and Cedric, he's not only Orthodox, but he's from the Archdiocese of Antioch. I assume you're an American. I don't actually know. But that's one of the larger Orthodox jurisdictions in the United States. But yeah, and the people who generally... So the Antiochian Orthodox Church in America is made up of two large groups. One is Arabs, and the other is like Western converts. And so it's kind of a weird community because you have a whole bunch of old Arabs talking about the old country and having liturgies in Arabic. And then you've got like Americans who like to play guitar afterwards. Okay. Cedric, sometime that would be interesting to... I don't know if it would be an appropriate topic for this channel, but it would be interesting to talk to you about that. Send an email to me sometime. I'm the.dapper.dino.yt@gmail.com. I would be interested to hear about that.
This time we're going to talk about what Mr. Nelson has been saying, that apes and humans are related. Now, you know your ancestors better than me. I've never been to a family reunion of yours. However, my ancestors were not apes.
Mine
None
were.
of them swung by their
Well,
tails.
I mean, mine were dinosaurs,
Some
but
might have
Ben's
swung
were.
by their necks, but
Right,
none
mine
swung
were.
by their tails, okay?
Actually, speaking of swinging by the necks, so I'm not revealing my last name, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago because the person my ancestors who had my old last name, in fact did swing by the neck, and my family wanted to disassociate themselves from his alleged crimes of piracy. So there's that.
I actually do know your last name. It's Dino. It's on your channel.
That's true. And yeah, Cedric, it is a little interesting to hear Christian songs in Arabic. I've heard them. It's especially after hearing so much about Islam in Arabic. But I actually once wrote a paper about the differences in the use of Arabic in English-speaking congregations between Muslim and Arab-speaking Christian congregations. It was some interesting research, but that's
That
off
seems
topic.
weird that you could hold a pen in your dinosaur hand.
Well, I dictated it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
It's previously established Dapper Dino canon that I have triconodont servants that help me with things.
I was just about to ask if you had those.
Right.
So in his closing arguments, he said that apes are related to humans. Now, Mr. Nelson, I told you it may take me a while because you are low priority, but
I'll be back.
That's so funny.
and I'll keep coming back
Oh,
till we
wait,
get
no,
it
it's
nailed.
not.
You said point number 10, and this may take.
Oh, wait, we haven't announced what we're drinking. Bent.
Okay, so I don't drink alcohol anymore because I drank a lifetime supply in like 6 years. But I am drinking this non-alcoholic white Zinfandel free. I'm going to drink the whole bottle. It's wine and it's room temperature. It would be better if it were chilled, but I didn't chill it, so deal with it.
All right. And I am drinking Glenlivet 14-year single malt cognac cask selection whiskey. On the rocks. I would prefer to drink it straight, but the room I am in is ridiculously hot right now. I don't understand why, because I have the AC set to like 63 and it's just constantly on, but it doesn't seem to matter. So there you go. Let's continue with the Kent.
Take a little while. The different cladistic categories or taxonomic classifications of life
Oh, he sipped when I did.
that prove that humans are apes and that birds are dinosaurs are
Coincidence?
determined objectively according to a suite of morphological, embryological, and molecular data without anyone having to draw lines on paper. We covered some of that last night. We're going to take just the part I skipped. Probably shouldn't have skipped it, but the chart showing that humans are apes. No, we're not apes, Mr. Nelson. I'm sorry. We're not.
I just want to point out, I don't think he's going to do it, but the only way to actually prove that humans aren't apes is to first define ape and then show that humans don't meet the definition.
I don't think prisoner or inmate number 0645-2017 is going to do that.
I don't either, but let's see what he does do.
Even him. Even him.
Even you are not. Yeah. You sure? Okay. I had to think about that twice.
Aron's an ape.
You can pontificate all you want, stand on your soapbox and say humans are apes, and
He
that's
looked
what
up
you do,
and
I'm
read
sure.
that word.
And you probably
He had it
really
written on
believe
the
it. I
scene.
don't question that. Most dictators and maniacs are good at forcefully,
Yeah.
dogmatically, and even
Words are lines on
threateningly saying
papers, therefore
things
they aren't true or
until
real.
their
God was
disciples
Galaxy
are afraid to
says.
question them.
It's
That's what you're
he's
doing
correct.
about this humans and apes. You talked about Cladistics. It's not just a bunch of lines on paper. Yes, it is. They say, well, we've got evidence for those lines. You could draw lines.
Lines on paper that are drawn are the conclusion. And no one in the field of cladistics, and I want to emphasize the no one part. No one who's actually working in the field of cladistics or familiar with it on any more than the most cursory of levels would tell you that the cladograms that you're looking at are the evidence. They are the conclusions. That's why papers usually include more than one cladogram for the same taxa, which are somewhat different. Because people like to be thorough, and so they'll do things like parsimony cladogram, Bayesian inference cladogram, fewest steps cladogram, some of which will vary from each other. Not usually in major aspects, but in minor details. They'll move a few taxa around depending on which model you use for determining which cladogram is most likely. Yeah, and Godless, yeah, you definitely predicted that before it actually happened. In fact, even before I heard it, with the delay.
Lines all sorts of different ways and claim evidence, like I covered last night. But you're bamboozling people, and I want to talk about that here real quick. You're hoodwinking,
Bamboozle.
bamboozling people.
It's a good word.
You said humans
gonna
are
use it a
apes.
lot.
I'm sorry. No, that's not true.
I mean, I don't blame him.
right
It
here.
is a good word.
The charts evolutionists make are claiming relationships. They're pure imagination and are simply lines on paper. Humans are not apes. The hands are very different between humans and apes. Chimps versus humans. Are we different? Duh.
The argument isn't that humans aren't different from other apes. It's that we're within the category of apes, Kent. You can't just start pointing out anatomical differences between humans and other species and then say, ta-da, humans aren't, and then pick the category. You want to say humans aren't mammals? Look, cows have hooves. Humans don't, therefore humans aren't mammals. That's as stupid as you pointing out that human and chimpanzee hands aren't the same and then saying, therefore humans aren't apes. I don't know if you know, Kent, but ape hands aren't even all the same either. I mean, non-human apes. Now, I'll grant you, most other apes are more heavily adapted for arboreal life than humans are, and so their hands have some similarities due to functions that they need to do, like brachiation, that humans don't do, and therefore those hands have some similarities. Still doesn't prove anything.
But you can't see we're different. Well, let's look at some of the differences. How about the strength? We had a pet chimpanzee when I was growing up. No, a squirrel monkey. Henry the spider monkey. Henry the spider monkey. My brother had it.
What was it?
That thing was incredible. And the strength was phenomenal. If you held something close to the cage that it wanted, it would reach out and grab it and pull, and you couldn't get it away, and the thing was only this tall.
Okay.
According to Hunt, if you shave a chimp and take a photo of its body from the neck to the waist, at first glance, you wouldn't really notice it isn't human. The two species, musculature is extremely similar, but somehow, pound for pound, chimps are between 2 and 3 times stronger than humans.
I mean, somehow.
They are incredibly strong, pound for pound.
Okay, so if a human got really strong, they would stop being a human? Is that the conclusion we're supposed to draw from this?
Well, it depends on if they had their bellies shaved or not, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what Uncle Kent's talking about. Hashtag fake news.
Seriously, what is this argument even supposed to be? Like, okay, how weak does an ape have to be before it becomes a human? Like, if let's say a chimpanzee is born with some kind of muscular disease, right? Like, that's the thing that happens to humans, right? People are incredibly weak through genetic disorders or whatever. Would that make that ape not an ape because it's weak? I really don't get it.
Well, neither does Kent.
Well, that's a good point.
Let's see. Why are chimpanzees stronger than humans?
Maya made it. Hi, Maya. Maya works way too much, and yet she always comes by for my streams, and I do not understand why she does that, because that's crazy. Maya.
It's because you're a dinosaur and you're dapper.
Oh, that's true. And, yeah, translator Carminum. Sorry, Carminum. Yeah, that's I think that's it. Yeah, creationists don't understand the difference between related to and identical to. That's true. Watch the discussion between Aron Ra and Kent Hovind on the Non Sequitur show, although I don't like telling people to watch the Non Sequitur show because it gives Kyle views, and I don't like Kyle because he stole, but, you know.
Screw that guy.
Yeah. Anyway, watch that debate because he says, oh, if you think elephants and pine trees are related, you must not be able to tell the difference. And then in my debate with him, which you should also watch, I said, you know, Kent, I am related to was it in my debates or was it in one of my videos? I don't remember. But I said at one point, I said, you know, I'm related to my cousins, but I can still tell them apart. Like, I don't think all my cousins look identical and all identical to me. And yet we're all related.
Humans. Chimps are far stronger than we are, but why? And there's plenty on the internet about this topic. They don't look any different. The muscles don't look a lot bigger. The muscles are attached differently in quite a few cases, especially those for walking, etc., and holding their posture up, straight up and down. But they are just incredibly strong. So, Mr. Nelson, the muscle position and strength shows clearly we are not apes.
No,
You
it
could
doesn't.
work out every day, all day long, and not be as strong as an ape, the same size and same body weight.
Okay.
Conversation. You know, monkeys don't have conversation like we do. They cannot infer the mental state of another individual, whether they are happy or sad. This one atheist said, I believe that a theory of mind was the big breakthrough by our ancestors.
Actually, chimpanzees and bonobos do in fact seem to have a theory of mind. This was discovered, not that long ago, but there was some experiments that were rather clever. So there was an ape, a chimpanzee, I believe, and behind a pane of glass, very thick glass, so it couldn't break it. And a human came in and placed a grape under one of a series of cups, okay? And then left the room. Now, the chimpanzee is very interested in grapes because chimpanzees like grapes because they're sweet and juicy, and that's the kind of thing chimpanzees like to eat. So, the monocle does really bring it home, I agree. But, so then another human would come in and try to find the grape. But the interesting thing was that the chimpanzees, and I don't remember exactly how they measured it, but basically their eye movements, rather than staying fixed on the cup with the grape, which is what some control animals did, because they knew where it was, they actually darted around, implying at least that the chimpanzee knew that the second human didn't know where the grape was. And so they didn't know which cup the human was likely to pick up next. So there is actually evidence that chimpanzees have a theory of mind. They actually, apparently, not proven, but chimpanzees actually seem to be able to realize that other creatures have perceptions like themselves, but that those perceptions aren't the same, and chimpanzees have some ability to determine whether or not other organisms or other creatures have certain bits of information that the chimpanzee themselves have. So even if this were true, it still wouldn't make humans not apes, because you haven't bothered to define ape there, Mr. Hovind. But it's not actually a difference.
One of the ape ancestors just decided to start thinking and wondering, what are other people thinking? Monkeys don't do that. Their brain is different.
Well, actually, some monkeys do, like you, and like chimpanzees.
Why can't apes speak? Unlike humans, apes lack anatomical prerequisites for verbal language production. Fancy way of saying they don't have the hardware to speak.
That's
The
true,
organs
most
within
apes
the
don't.
vocal tract, such as larynx, muscles, and vocal cords, cannot be moved as freely and coordinated as in humans, especially not at a comparable speed.
Oh, Hannah makes a good point. Yeah, actually, a lot of primates have an idea of injustice. So even fairly distantly related primates to humans will perform certain tricks in exchange for a cucumber. But if that same primate sees another one performing the same trick and then getting a grape or some other higher value, I guess, treat, they will start to refuse to perform the trick for a cucumber and actually get angry when offered the cucumber, which previously they were perfectly happy to have because they saw someone else getting paid more and they're for the same work. So even monkeys hate an actual wage gap. So there you go.
So they can't talk like we do. Will chimpanzees ever be able to speak? For decades, monkeys and apes' vocal anatomy has been blamed for their inability to produce human speech sounds. But a new study suggests macaque monkeys, and by extension other primates, could indeed talk if they only possess the brain. So not only do they not have the vocal wiring to do it, they don't have the brain to do it.
No, Kent, that is not what was just said. What was just said is some primates have the physical capacity to speak, and not the mental capacity, and others lack the physical capacity. But nothing in that stated or even implied that there wasn't a possibility that some apes have the mental but not physical capacity. So it's entirely possible, just based on what you read, that chimpanzees with the right anatomy could speak. And based on the actual genetic diversity within apes, humans basically just are chimpanzees that can speak. So, yeah. In fact, really the only reason that humans and chimpanzees are in different genera is because the closer you get to being human, the more of a difference tiny things seem to make to humans. Like, if human genera, or if primate genera were based in the same way that, say, beetle genera are, which, a beetle genus can include just dozens and dozens of fairly different species, there would probably only be one ape genus. So, yeah. Yeah, some primates exchange dates, as in the fruit, for favors. Cedric says it's true. Primates. The idea of prostitution is not unique to humans in the primate world. Actually, it's not really unique to mammals. So there's that.
Part of the brain that's missing that allows them to speak and recognize and understand verbal communication.
It's not part of the brain that's missing, Ken. It's various parts of the brain that are smaller. You don't have any part of your brain that's a different part that no monkey has. A monkey has every single part of the brain that you'd have. Yours is just bigger in some areas.
Hey, it's
Mr. Nelson,
Kent.
I'm
It's
sorry,
not
humans are
really
not
bigger in
apes.
very many
They're not
areas.
similar to speech like we do. How about their stance, the way they stand? Humans are bipedal. Apes, and except for short bouts of uprightness, great apes walk on all fours. It's a profound disparity.
Great apes tend to walk on all fours, but lesser apes have a pretty high tendency to walk on two legs. And in fact, all primates are hind leg dominant, Kent. So this is much less a difference of kind, shall we say? More of a difference of degree.
Kevin Hunt, director of Human Origins and Primate Evolution Lab at Indiana University, thinks humans' ancestors stood upright in order to reach vegetation in low-hanging tree branches. Oh, so they learned to go from walking on four to walking on two so they could reach stuff on the tree branches. That's the story they've got.
I actually would disagree with that. I believe the current consensus is that bipedal posture was essentially an adaptation for both being able to have a better field of view in grasslands, which were starting to replace the previous jungles in the Rift Valley area of Africa where humans originated, as well as having some energy savings in terms of long-distance overland movement. And there is some reason to think that humans, in terms of their long-term speed, are actually some of the fastest animals in the world in terms of, okay, over the course of a week, how much distance can a human cover versus how much distance can a lion cover or even a cheetah. Humans actually outpace nearly everything in terms of long-term distance. It's one of the reasons that humans were able to spread all over the world like 3 different times. So...
I'm sorry, that's a made-up story. That's not science. How about the houses monkeys make? That's an orangutan's house.
No, that's an orangutan's bed. There's a difference between a house and a bed. But, okay.
Here's a human's house.
Bent, didn't you send me a link to that house or something?
One very similar to, if not the same one.
I think I'll...
Let me pull that up.
Okay, well, you pull that up, but, you know what? I think the Dapper Dino, aka me, should probably move into someplace like that. But I feel like the doors need to be bigger.
Well, taller, for sure.
Wider, too, though.
And a different type of doorknob.
Well, I mean, just make them all automatic sliding doors.
That would work.
Here's a chimpanzee house. Here is
Bed.
Alabama's largest house. Mr. Nelson, humans are not apes. No ape or any other animal builds houses anything similar to the way humans do. Nothing close.
Humans didn't always build houses the way humans do, Kent. You yourself recognize that early humans often lived in caves. Huts are not a native feature of human life. That's actually a technological innovation that humans had to come up with. And the fact that humans evolved in grasslands probably goes some of the way towards telling you why they didn't make nests in trees out of leaves. Clifford Reynolds, I'm surprised Alabama's largest house isn't a double wide.
Okay? What about using tools? Oh, look at that. He picked up a stick. Whoa, okay.
Actually, Kent, when it comes to chimpanzee tool use, chimpanzees are able to sharpen sticks and strip leaves, meaning that we know that they're capable of actually using forethought to construct tools that will be better than simply the tools they find naturally lying around, which is something that's pretty rare in the animal kingdom. And some chimpanzees and even some non-ape monkeys have been known to use pounding stones, which they at least select for correct shape in order to get at nuts inside hard shells. And Hannah Anderson points out that some early humans used sticks and rocks, and some tribes still do. There are people in the world who have not gone past the early Stone Age in terms of their technology. That's a thing.
I don't think apes' tools are anything similar to human tools, okay? We have a shop down. How many tools do we have in the shop? Thousands, bunch, okay? No animal comes close to humans in tool use. They might get a stick and shove it down a hole and try to get a few ants to stick to it. If you think that's similar to launching a space shuttle or building a skyscraper, you are absolutely insane.
Kent, not even you think that building a skyscraper and launching a shuttle is just a natural thing that humans do all by themselves without any reference to any previous work. If you took a bunch of humans and tossed them in a jungle, especially if they were like you, Kent, they would probably fare a lot worse than chimpanzees do. And the fact is that even with this whole humans building computers and space shuttles and whatnot, it's still a matter of degree.
Completely bonkers, okay? Humans are not apes. No ape or any other animal uses tools anything similar to the way humans do.
Wrong.
So stop saying humans are apes. No, we're not. Human feet are very
I
different.
feel like
from
he's got a
chimpanzee feet.
huge
They did not
field
evolve from a
just
common
full
ancestor.
of men made out
Have
of
a
straw.
He just pulls one down every time.
Yeah,
So
every point he makes.
here's something I want to point out. Okay, so you look at this human foot and a chimpanzee foot. They're actually not that different. Really. If you look at the bone structure, they're basically the same thing. One has a toe that comes out at a different angle and slightly longer toes. That's it. There's really not some kind of crazy divide here. And, no. Hannah, he doesn't know anything about anthropology. Kent knows very little about anything. He doesn't even know very much about the Bible. So...
Designer. The feet are very different. The bone structure, the joints, very different.
I like how in his diagram, he intentionally chose a diagram where the position of the bones is different in order to accentuate the supposed differences. Very honest of you, Kent.
The way that we walk and roll our foot compared to the way an ape does it, none of their feet are...
Oh, hey, you know what I noticed? Take a look at the actual apes. Simang, human, chimpanzee, gorilla, and orangutan. So, Siamang is the least closely related to humans, and it's the most different from us. Orangutan is the next closest, most closely related to us, and it's the next closest, then gorilla, then chimpanzee. It's almost like if you made a cladogram based on foot shape, you would find humans more closely related to chimpanzees than gorillas, and all that whole group more closely related to each other than orangutans, and so on. Oh, Cedric, I have seen some of Kent's stuff on King James Onlyism. It's horrifically bad. And while this is not a Bible channel, I am actually thinking about talking to Chris from Biblical History Skeptics and saying, hey, maybe you should take a look at some of this King James Only stuff, because you would have a field day with it. And actually, you know what? If you're looking for someone who's actually a Christian on that, I would say that James White has some pretty good stuff on King James Onlyism. I disagree with James White on a fair few things, but I think that his takedown of King James Onlyism comes from a pretty rigorous place in terms of actual textual criticism. So, if you want a Christian voice on that, I would recommend that. I'm not going to recommend James White just in general, but he's pretty good on King James Onlyism, and he knows a surprising amount about Islam, so he's actually pretty interesting to listen to on that.
Are similar to ours. If you say, well, look, they've got 5 digits, 4 toes, and we've got four toes and a great toe. Well, this, again, could prove common designer, not common ancestor.
Kent, when you start making novel predictions based on the idea of common design that then turn out to be true, I'll start taking seriously your claims that things that actually indicate common ancestry in fact, actually indicate common design. Until then, every time you say that, it's just you talking out your ass.
Just in case you don't know, okay? This is the human foot over here.
No one is confused
This
about
is
that.
the ape's foot, okay? The feet are very different.
How much scotch
on
is
the
this going
two.
to take?
We have a large heel. They have a small heel. We have an
It's
ankle
already a
adapted
lot.
for walking. Their
How
ankle
much
is adapted
time
for
is left in the
climbing,
video?
The way the bones attach there.
Oh
Stiff
yeah, you're kind
midfoot
of
for
screwed.
propulsion
Yeah, I
when you
know.
push off of your stride. They have a flexible midfoot. Anyway, there's lots of differences in the ape foot and the human foot. I think the fact that there are a few similarities is evidence of a common designer. Same guy designed them and did a wonderful job, by the way.
Hey, what test could you possibly have to determine whether or not a common designer has been falsified? Are there any? I can't think of one. But I still am willing to say that if you can make novel predictions based on common design, I'll listen to it.
Apes' feet and human feet are very different. You can study the feet very carefully and say, wow, you could imagine that one could evolve to the other, but that's pure imagination. They know the problem with feet when it comes to evolution. So when they found Lucy in 1973, Hadar Valley, Ethiopia, Donald Johanson found Lucy, became very famous for it. The only thing he ever did in his life of any recognition, I think. But he...
What? Donald Johanson, or I think it's Johanson, I don't know. It doesn't matter, I'm drunk. Found lots of fossils of many different hominids. The idea that the fact that Ket, all you know about is him finding Lucy, doesn't mean that's the only thing he did of note. That's not how this works.
They put human feet on the Lucy display at the St. Louis Zoo.
Yeah, you know why, Kent? I know you're gonna say, oh, there were no feet found with the Lucy fossil, and you're broadly correct. I think there was like half a metatarsal found or something like that. But subsequent finds of other Australopiths did include extensive feet remains, or foot remains, I don't know. But like, just... I'm sorry that you think it's dishonest to fill in the gaps of one fossil of a particular species with a different fossil from the same species, Kent. But most people would say, hey, if I found 3/4 of a dog skeleton, and then I found another dog skeleton that was another 3/4, and some of the parts that were actually in both skeletons were different, that I could combine them to get a better idea as to what the anatomy of an entire dog is, I don't think that's crazy. Do you think that's crazy, Bent?
There's a lot that I think is crazy, and no, that's not one of them.
Okay, well, if it's not crazy to Bent, Bent Hovind, no relation, it's not crazy.
And here's a general biology textbook. How did humans evolve? Hominid evolution.
It says hominin evolution. Hominidae and homininae are different things, Kent. One is a subfamily. I know that you don't know jack about taxonomy, but maybe you should just at least learn the traditional endings for the various taxonomic ranks. It might help you not look so stupid.
Lucy on display at the St. Louis Zoo. A female skeleton found more than 20 years ago. Fossilized footprints from the ash.
More than 20 years. How old are your slides, Ken? It's been like more than 30 years. Well, it doesn't matter. It was found in the 70s, so... Yeah, so definitely more than 30 years ago. It might have been 40 years ago at this point. I don't even know.
It's a long time. A lot more than 20.
Yeah, it's probably coming up on 40 years. Oh, now I know how old this slide is. It says 2011. There you go. Your slide is 8 years old, Kent. At least update the dates. I like how... But I do admire... You know what? He said more than 20 years ago. That slide will never technically be wrong. I'll give him that. Good job, Kent. You found a way to hedge your bet.
So they're equating Lucy to making these fossilized footprints, which were 100% normal human footprints. Whoa, this is deceit all the way through. Lucy, what nice feet you have. Many of the people, science of biology, different authors said, oh, Lucy had human feet. This is absolutely baloney. Not a single foot bone was found. None. They have to put it in there, though, because this is a major problem to go from a human foot to an ape foot.
Oh, like I said, no foot bones were found on Lucy. True. But Lucy, I don't know if you know, Kent, isn't the only Australopithecus, afarensis, ever found. She isn't. Lots of specimens have been found. Well, I don't know about lots, but a fair few more.
I'm sorry, Mr.
More
Nelson.
than one
Humans
total.
are not apes. Their feet show us that very clearly, okay? The human pelvis is very different from chimpanzee pelvis. They did not evolve from a common ancestor. They have a common designer.
Oh, wait, hold on. Back up.
Pelvis.
Huh. You know what I noticed about the Australopithecus pelvis and foot and femur? It's nicely intermediary between the chimpanzee condition and the human condition, at least in the pelvis and femur. And in fact, the foot, the Australopithecus africanus, which is not the same species as Lucy, by the way, Kent. Lucy was Australopithecus afarensis, but hey, who cares about details like whether or not an animal is a member of one species or another? You got lies to tell for Jeebus. But still, it's interesting how that femur and that pelvis are nicely intermediary. Also, why are we comparing a male chimpanzee and a male human with a female Australopithecus? Just saying, we should probably keep the sex the same.
They did not evolve from a common ancestor. They have a common designer. Our pelvis is designed for walking upright. Theirs is designed for walking on all four. Our pelvis supports the organs inside, it holds them in place because of vertical up and down gravity pulling on them. The pelvis is very different. You could study this for a long time.
But Kent, it doesn't matter if you haven't defined what an ape is. Yeah, me getting belligerent is hilarious. And Kent brings out the absolute worst in me, and the alcohol, it helps me, but it doesn't help me be nice. At all. Also,
You don't have to be nice.
What is wrong
You
with
just have
that?
to tell the truth.
True, but what is wrong with that human pelvis? Is it me, or is it all like squished to one side or something?
It's just lines on paper. It doesn't really matter.
Good point.
And I'd like to know how on earth you think it changed from one to the other, from the human to the chimpanzee.
You mean how it changed from one to the other? It's just the same bones shaped a bit differently. That's all you need to know is, do genes affect bone shape? Can genes change? The answer to both questions is yes. Ta-da!
Or chimpanzee to the human. Either way, the pelvis is very different. The way the muscle.
Oh, and there's another thing. He said chimpanzee to the human. No one is telling people that humans evolved from modern chimpanzees. Now, I'll grant you, chimpanzees are probably a bit more stereotypic of the common ancestor between humans and chimpanzees than humans are, but still, the common ancestor wasn't either of them, and there's no reason to expect that we would have, or that common ancestor would have looked exactly like a chimpanzee. In fact, it probably didn't look a whole lot like a chimpanzee. Also, how come no one ever talks about the bonobos? Bonobos need love too. Although, they get a lot of that from each other, so I guess maybe they're okay.
I think they're set.
Yeah,
Just
probably.
the
You don't have
pelvis
to worry
shows
about
very
them.
clearly, and their backbone, walking upright versus horizontal, shows we are not apes. I'm sorry. Now, you said it dogmatically, and like, Hovind's an idiot, everybody knows this, humans are apes. No, we're
It's
not
true.
apes.
All of these could be good points if, Kent, you had ever bothered to establish what an ape is. But since you didn't, literally everything you're saying right now doesn't matter, because you haven't started with the one necessary thing to set
They're
up your
just
argument.
baseless claims.
Well, some of he's
with
usually
repetition.
look. He's usually right. Humans differ from chimpanzees anatomically in these ways. He's not wrong about the anatomy. Like, it's true. Humans don't have the same anatomy as chimpanzees. Probably because they're not the same species. But so what? Kent agrees that he's a vertebrate. But guess what? He has vastly different anatomy from most vertebrates. But why is he a vertebrate? Why does he accept that he's a vertebrate? He said in the debate that vertebrates are animals with backbones. Okay, well that's why you're a vertebrate, Kent. Pointing out other differences between you and other vertebrates doesn't matter if that's the definition. So you have to start with a definition of ape. And this is something I'm just putting out there to anyone who ever watches this. If you want to prove that X is not a member of group Y, you have to start out with a definition of group Y. That's just how it works.
We're not. Stop saying stuff like that.
No.
Humans have a large
he won't,
cranium for the brain. Chimpanzees have a small cranium.
Chimpanzees only have a small cranium if you compare it to humans. If you compare it to virtually any other animal in the entire history of Earth, chimpanzees have an absurdly large cranium. It is ridiculous how big a chimpanzee cranium is compared to pretty much anything but a human. Humans are just freakishly outlandish in the size of their cranium.
You're welcome.
Seriously, you guys are freaks.
It's all this non-alcoholic wine. Woo.
Don't let all that non-alcohol get to your head.
And my large cranium can handle it.
And a small brain. We have a flat forehead and face. They have a protruding brow and sloping face. We have a
Modern humans have a flat face and non-protruding brow. Not true for all humans, Kent. You, Kent, think Neanderthals were humans. They had pretty protruding brows, and their foreheads were significantly more sloped, and they didn't even have chins.
protruding nose. They have a broad, flat nose. The differences are immense just on the face of the two.
Wait, one of those things that said that chimpanzees don't have an S-curve spine, but they do. It's not, the curve isn't as pronounced, but it's there. Just wanted to point that out.
The vertebral column and pelvis is very different because we walk with our head held straight above our body and they walk with their backbone horizontal. The placement of the foramen magnum is very different. Ours.
Did he just say foramen magnum?
I think he said it correctly.
I'm going to reverse a little bit.
I heard foramen, but just because I know what it is. So
Right,
I heard
me too. I want to hear him say it again. Maybe I'm wrong.
Of the two. The vertebral column and pelvis is very different
Shut up.
because we walk with our head held straight above our body and they walk with their backbone horizontal. The placement
Hold your head up high,
of the
Kent.
foramen magnum is very
All right,
different.
he did say foramen.
Ours is
All
up
right,
here
I'll
where the
give him that.
spinal cord goes through into the.
Okay, but look at the bones, Ken. They're all the same. They're just shifted around a bit. Like, that doesn't indicate anything to you? The fact that there's a difference, but that there's such a fundamental similarity? No?
I'm trying to figure out like what the difference is, what he's pointing to.
So, the
Like,
difference
what-
is...
The difference is the green circle isn't in the middle on the left side, but it's still in the same spot where all the bones are.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Well, that's because you've taken classes like anatomy. You know what those bones are, and so you can
It's
recognize when they're just shifted around a bit.
It's pronounced anatomy.
Oh, my apologies.
brain. Theirs is way back here. How did this evolve slowly over millions of years?
What do you mean, how did it evolve slowly? You're showing a picture of how it evolved slowly, Kent. Look at the wolf skull. The foramen magnum is far more on the posterior end of the skull than the chimpanzee skull, which has a position that is more ventral on the skull. And then there's the human condition where it's almost entirely ventral. You're literally showing how it evolved on screen right now. All of those animals have the same bones in their skull. All of them. They're shaped and arranged a little bit differently. And you're showing a transitional series between a much more primitive skull in the form of the wolf skull, which, while its dentition is highly derived, the structure of the cranium ultimately is actually pretty basal as far as mammals go. And you're showing a chimpanzee skull, which is pretty derived. And then a human skull, which is significantly more derived. How can he put up on the screen the evidence of why he's wrong? And then just ignore it? I just don't get it.
I just gotta say, when you said wolf skull, that sounds like an awesome band name.
Well, you can have it. If copper magma doesn't work out, wolf skull it is.
We'll
By the
see.
way, Bent is in a band called Copper Magma. Go see Copper Magma in theaters near you when that happens.
Yeah, when that happens in 50 years.
How did the foramen magnum change position? And where's the evidence for this?
As he
Ours is
shows the
designed to hold
evidence.
the head straight up and down so your field of vision is perpendicular to your backbone. They walk with their backbone like this, so their head's up, and they want to see their field of vision is parallel with their backbone. I'm sorry, Mr. Nelson, humans are not apes. The foramen magnum position shows us this very clearly.
No,
But
it
they put them in the textbooks like
doesn't.
we're related.
Even the diagram you showed that it doesn't, because the non-human ape you showed had a significantly more ventrally placed foramen magnum than is typical for other animals.
Those are just lines on paper anyway, so who cares?
All right, good point.
drew lines on paper. There
Oh,
we go.
you just
That's
said
true.
lines on
It's a line on paper. We're even related to sponges. Whoa.
Yeah.
Take a bath with your great grandpa.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Kent.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Even if humans evolved from actual sponges, even then, modern sponges wouldn't be your ancestor. They would also be descendants of that sponge common ancestor. And the fact is that they're not the common ancestor of... The sponges and humans don't have a common ancestor that was a sponge. Oh my goodness. Okay. Rule number one for arguing against anything: if you can't explain the thing you're arguing against in a way that the proponents of the thing would accept as an adequate description, then you don't know enough about the thing to argue against it. So if you want to argue against anything, creationism, evolution, Islam, I don't care, until you can give a description of the ideology that even adherents would accept as accurate, you don't know enough to argue against it. Which is one of the reasons why I think a lot of atheist arguments against Christianity are so unconvincing. Because a lot of atheists don't understand Christianity well enough to actually get a Christian to accept their understanding. Some of them do, don't get me wrong. There are definitely some that do, especially ones who were Christian. But that's going too far off topic.
Yeah, the sponge. Okay. You can believe that if you want, but that's not science, okay? Life today has conquered every square inch of Earth. But when the planet formed, it was a dead rock. How did life get started? Now, you guys keep accusing me in the comment section that when I say evolution teaches we came from a rock, you say, show me where it says that.
Okay, let's read those words. The secret of how... Okay, Earth. Home, Attenborough's Story of Life, Big Questions, Discoveries video, Earth by email. What does that mean? I don't know. Doesn't matter. About Us, The Big Question, Something Life. The secret of how life on Earth began. Today, life has conquered every square inch of Earth, but when the planet formed, it was a dead rock. How did life get started? Related stories. Which of those words said that life came from a rock?
I would say if you take the word life and then go back to the word the and then go forward to rock, I mean, you can kind of like just mix the words up and eventually come up with some nonsense, and then that's what Kent does. He's really good at it.
Okay. I mean, that's true. He's got a bigger following than I do. By the way, I'm a little disappointed that today, despite gaining a follower, my net followers are still at 0 as far as I know. Or net new subscribers, I mean. Because, like, I had someone else subscribe and then subscribe, and I'm just like, aw, I was kind of hoping for, like, 5 or 6 subscribers today. But, whatever. The scotch is helping.
Day is young.
No, it's not.
How's this for one? There are many. Yes, you came from a rock in your religion.
That
okay?
doesn't say that.
And they show that humans, as if all the different types of apes and monkeys are related to a common.
Heck, that's literally... Okay, Sahelanthropus, Ardipithecus, Auroran, Australopithecus, right there, chimpanzee, not even connected to the tree. Homo and Paranthropus. So none of these are outside the human line of apes. And yeah, Cedric says the funny thing is creationism teaches we come from rocks because the dust of the earth from which God created humanity in the Bible, Kent, you know what the dust of the earth would be back before there were, a whole bunch of animals shedding skin flakes to become dust? Yeah, that'd just be finely ground rock. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Maya, that's true. It is still pretty impressive considering I had less than 100 3 weeks ago. So, you have a point there. I am doing pretty well. It was just a little...
You're doing pretty good.
I was just hopeful. I woke up hopeful that I'd gain a couple subscribers over the course of the night, and I was like -1, and I was like, aw. But anyway, whatever. That's fine.
Ancestry. They drew a bunch of lines on paper. But the textbooks will teach the kids that this is Grandpa, right?
No textbook teaches
No.
anyone that.
No.
None of
No,
them.
even I know that.
Oh my goodness. Although, I do like that picture. I don't know why. I just think that's a great picture. The ape. Not the big one, the smaller ape on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All you apes look the same to me. I mean, really, mammals
we look
just
the same to me.
Mammals tend to look pretty much the same to me. I don't get it, but whatever.
Right here.
All dinosaurs
Whole
look the
section
same
on
to me.
human evolution. Let's see. Holt Biology, one of the 4
Unless they
major
have
publishers
feathers.
in America.
You'd probably mix up a Daspletosaurus and a Tarbosaurus.
Gesundheit.
Why do creationists hate their creator's creation so much? I don't know. Like, if we assume that a creator created the universe, then evolution was a part of that creation. So I don't know, Hannah.
Teaching this stupidity. The Bible says clearly, God made man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. So you guys are calling God a liar, which you're welcome to do, but just understand, you are calling God a liar.
Or,
And you, huh?
or an ape.
Or an ape, yeah. Okay. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, Romans chapter 1. This one says, he's the daddy of us all. What is this? They found some bones in the dirt. Oh, and he's the daddy of us all? This is stupid.
Okay, I can't see where this was published, but just based on the format, I'm going to have to go ahead and say it wasn't a peer-reviewed journal. And so that was probably a hyperbolic kind of, I don't know, probably 1990s version of clickbait. I'm sorry that lay-level magazines try to sensationalize their headlines in order to sell more copies, Kent. I don't know what to tell you. If it were up to me, that wouldn't be the case. But it's not. So, apologies? I don't know. Oh, he even says that articles like this appear every few weeks in the paper. So he's claiming this was a newspaper. I don't know if you know this, Kent.
Newspapers aren't academic journals.
What?
I know, crazy, right?
You don't know he's the daddy of anybody. You find bones in the dirt, all you know is it died. You don't
It died,
it
I
had
know, yeah.
any
I know.
children at all.
Wait, what if you find bones in the dirt that are in the process of both having sex and giving birth? What then, Kent? I don't know how that would work, but let's just say it happened. The mother of all mammals. Morganucodon. Aw, I like Morganucodon. And it was the world's first true mammal. Yeah. Smithsonian. Okay, again, not an academic journal, because an academic journal wouldn't make such hyperbolic claims. Morganucodon is one of the most basal true mammals, depending on how you define mammal, and it's probably not the actual ancestor of modern mammals. So, yeah, Ken wouldn't know an academic journal if you smacked him across the face with it. Many have tried. It's true. Many have tried. But anyway, let's listen to what nonsense Kent has to say about Morganucodon.
The mother of all mammals. There it is. There's the mother of all
Yeah, there's
the mammals.
journalistic hyperbole.
Logic 101. If you find a fossil in the dirt, all you really know is it died.
No, Kent, I know you don't know that that's all you know, because I've gone over it with you and you didn't disagree with me. You know it lived. You know it had certain anatomy. You can base on that anatomy certain other behavioral things like You can say for pretty darn sure that T-Rex you had didn't fly because its anatomy wouldn't allow for it, so you can know at least some basics of behavior. You can then go on to determine which taxonomic classes and categories and families and whatnot that animal may have belonged to on the basis of knowing its anatomy. And you know that it at least had parents, even if it didn't have children, which means you know that it represents a member of an entire population. And since populations are the subject matter of evolution, we can use the existence of individual fossils to inform us about the evolution of populations. If you disagreed with me on any of that, Kent, you should have said so in the debate. Just saying.
He couldn't because he was speechless because he was very unprepared.
Oh, he was extremely unprepared for that debate. All he had prepared was his script, and I did not let him follow that script.
Nope.
Just like, that's actually one of the reasons I picked that topic and picked my opening statement, because I was like, I want to make damn sure Ken cannot follow his script. And he tried, but I immediately was just like, nope, not gonna happen. I had so much fun on that debate. By the way,
really
that
good.
reminds me, this is not an official announcement, but I am currently in the process of scheduling a debate with Bill Morgan on Modern Day Debate Channel. Bill had a previous debate with Tom Jump. I recommend you check it out. Currently, the idea is that the topic of the debate is, could a bird wing evolve? I'm going to try and go through various intermediate stages that we know from the fossils to help indicate why it isn't such a stretch for a dinosaur forelimb to evolve into a bird wing. I don't have a time for that because James hasn't gotten back to me on that yet. But once he does, I will post an announcement video. I'll tweet about it. It'll happen. Don't worry.
You cannot prove it had any kids, and you sure can't prove it had kids that lived. And you sure can't prove it had kids that lived and reproduced. And you can't prove it had kids that were different than themselves.
It didn't have kids that were different from themselves, except in the normal way that kids are different from their parents. That's it. No one suggested otherwise.
So why do evolutionists claim that bones in the dirt can do something no animal today that's alive can do?
They don't.
Produce something other than their kind. Every farmer in history of the world will tell you cows produce cows and corn produces corn. There are none, zero, zip, nada.
I think all the evolutionists say the same thing.
Yeah, what Kent is basically saying here is, because a particular law of biological evolution has yet to be observed being broken, therefore evolution is wrong. It's like, no. That would be like saying, because the Heisenberg uncertainty principle has yet to be compensated for a la Star Trek, therefore quantum physics is wrong. That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works.
None. Hapana. Hapana, I don't remember what
It's Swahili.
Means none.
It's Swahili,
none.
Kent.
Okay. So is it...
I think Ken has been eating too many of those apricot seeds and getting some cyanide poisoning, because I know that he knows this. Kent, you're the one who taught me that was Swahili. Literally, the only reason I know that that's Swahili is because you said it, Kent. And in fact, the fact that you're the one who told me that means that I probably should check into that to see if it's really Swahili, because it might not be. So if anyone in chat could check on what Swahili for none is and let me know, that'd be great.
Possible for an ape-like creature to turn to a human? Maybe.
Okay, I get it. You don't like Bill Clinton. I'm not going to comment because I don't get into the whole politics thing on this channel. But I do want to point out that no two pictures in this sequence look like an unrealistic amount of change to happen between several generations, even in Kent's idea of microevolution within kinds or whatever. So what's the objection here? Like, at what point in that in that series does it stop being human and start being ape? Because once again, Kent is actually offering evidence for the possibility of this transition in his pictures.
In extremely rare cases, in Arkansas, okay? Depends on what you mean.
It's Arkansas, get it right. Wait, Hakuna? Oh, maybe it wasn't Hapana. Oh, yeah, because Hakuna starts in Hakuna Matata. Kent was probably
Sure.
wrong about it being Swahili. Or it could also be that it's Swahili in some other context, because, I mean, how much of Swahili grammar do I know? But why am I giving Kent the benefit of the doubt? That's just stupid.
I mean by cavemen. Many people in the Bible lived in caves. It's not a big deal. That was the world's most wanted caveman.
Did they?
Had the
Does
diaper on his head.
the Bible
There's
talk
a
about
former
many people
caveman.
living in caves?
They finally found him, and anyway, he's
I think King David hid in a cave when his son tried to usurp the throne.
I guess that is many people in the Bible living in caves.
Well, I believe he hid in the cave with a bunch of his like soldiers or loyalists or something.
And they lived there for their whole lives.
Havana means no. I'm actually going to go ahead and say, Hapana. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's probably where he got Hapana from, is the Swahili word for no. So, no. Havana means cigars. That's true.
I think that's true.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we've established that according to the Bible, some people hid out in a cave once. So here you go. Also, if anyone knows if I'm wrong about that King David and hiding in the cave and when his son tried to usurp the throne, let me know. Because I'll be honest, it's been a little while since I've read that part of the Bible, so you know.
gone. Someone's trying to make a monkey out of you. National Pornographic.
I'm already a monkey. Well, I mean,
Oh my
you're already monkeys. I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah, you're a dinosaur.
I'm not a monkey, but you guys are.
We are.
Yeah. Get wrecked.
Oh, they're the first pioneer. This is stupid. Humans should talk like chimps.
It's stupid.
BBC News.
Okay.
Yes, humans should walk around and scratch their armpits and act like and talk like chimps. Oh, that would look really good.
What?
What is he?
I don't even know what this argument is.
Did he just have a stroke?
Possibly. Too many apricot seeds there.
Yeah, that'll impress her, won't it? Yes. Oh, Rich, you're trying to find.
Oh, Cedric comes in with a correction. He hid in a cave when running from Saul. Now, that does sound right, but I feel like there was a second time that he hid in a cave. But maybe I'm just wrong. If I am, sorry about that. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Lived in a cave running from Absalom. I could be just confusing David running from Saul and David running from Absalom, but I thought he hid in a cave from Absalom. Absalom? I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It does. If you're Absol... that it matters. Or if you're David, I guess.
Find you a girlfriend. Maybe if you acted like a chimp, we could find one. Okay.
Easier to get rid of the fleas.
Get rid of the fleas. Okay.
Oh, fleas. You know what? Here's something for all you apes out there. Speaking of evolution and parasites, I don't know if you know, but humans are parasitized by two species of lice, the human body louse and the human pubic louse. The human body louse's most closest related species is the chimpanzee louse, which you might expect. You know, human lice, chimpanzee lice, they probably, actually we know they diverged from each other around the same times that humans diverged from our common ancestor with chimpanzee. That makes sense. But you know what the most recent, or the closest relative of the human pubic louse is?
What?
The gorilla louse.
What?
Yeah. So at some point, humans were doing some very interesting things with the ancestors of gorillas well after their separation from chimpanzees. So, have fun with that, humans.
Ew.
Yeah.
Evolution's Hall of Shame, Nebraska man. Guess where that was found?
Nebraska.
Kansas. No, Nebraska.
Oh, hey!
The Nebraska.
For a while now, we're just going to talk about things that weren't in fact true, that scientists who weren't creationists found out weren't true, and that creationists decided to capitalize on to make scientists look like, I don't know, they were bad at I guess they were good at finding hoaxes and declaring them to be hoaxes. Not sure how this reflects poorly on the non-creationists, but whatever.
Man, all they found was one tooth. They found a single tooth. That was it. They built the whole man from one tooth. You got to be good to know what he looks like from his tooth.
Oh, here's a prediction. Kent is going to say it was a pig tooth, but it wasn't. It was a peccary tooth. Peccaries are... Now, don't get me wrong. Peccaries and actual pigs form a clade together, and they're each other's sister groups. But peccaries are not in the same group as pigs. They are separate families. Pigs are in Suidae, and peccaries are in Tessuridae. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it starts with a T, and there's an S and a Y in there, and it ends in day, like all families do. So, here you go. Mammals.
One tiny bone can make an entire man, caveman, and upset all the theories. Nebraska Man and his wife were put in the articles, in the newspapers, and in a display in 1922.
Oh, but not the peer-reviewed journals? Huh.
All built up from one tooth.
I just
Later,
want to
they found
know
out
if they got
really came
married,
from a
who did the
pig.
ceremony?
There's the real Nebraska Man right there. How about the...
No, Kent. That was a pig. Peccaries aren't pigs. Oh, by the way,
Prediction successful. What?
if any of you live in like southwest Texas or southern New Mexico or parts of Arizona, you may be familiar with an animal called the javelina. It is a peccary. So, there you go.
Piltdown Man, found in Piltdown, England. 1912. Darwin's theory is proved true. New York Times. Really? The world's most famous court trial. Is that book in here? It's a black book about yay big. It's the entire transcript of the trial. It's in here somewhere. Okay. They used Piltdown Man as evidence for evolution during the 1925 Scopes monkey trial, they call it. For more than 40 years, Piltdown Man was a member more or less in good standing of the evolution community. Piltdown Man was declared an ape man 500,000 years old and validated by many of Britain's leading scientists, including Grafton Smith, anatomist Sir Arthur Keith, British Museum geologist Arthur Smith Woodward. At the time the discovery was announced, the New York Times ran the headline, "Darwin Theory Proved True." For the next 4 decades, Piltdown Man was evolution's greatest showcase, featured in textbooks and encyclopedias.
I have an embarrassing admission.
What?
I just tried to pour some scotch into my cup, but I had the cap on.
Man, you're drunk.
It took me like 2 or 3 seconds to realize. Oh, Kent, what are you doing to me? I'm blaming Kent for this. If I die of alcohol poisoning, it's Kent Hovind's fault.
Well, he's the one who drove you to drink.
It's true. Although I drove myself to the liquor store.
Before you were drinking, though.
Yeah, it's not easy to modify a Ford F-150 for a Ceratosaurus to drive it, by the way.
You only have to do it once.
Yeah.
But what did the
It's
Piltdown Man
contact
actually
stupid.
consist of? A very recent orangutan jaw, which had been stained to look old, with its teeth filed down to make them look more human, planted together with a human skull bone, and stained to create the appearance of age. First Neanderthal man was found in 1856 and was classed as 100% human. An old man with arthritis, they said his back was bent.
Kent, just like ape, unless you give a definition for what counts as human, classing Neanderthal as 100% human or not doesn't mean anything. In fact, most people who accept evolution would say that Neanderthal is 100% human, because most people I know of consider the word human to basically just mean member of the genus Homo. So, oh, who's the peanut gallery in the background in Kent's house? So I think it might be the woman he calls Lady Di, who apparently has been one of his followers for quite a while. But I also think it might be his Mrs. Hovind 3. But I'm not really sure. And as Cedric says, yeah, they're basically the cult members. But there's one woman whose voice is particularly prominent in a lot of his videos. And I think it's the one who he says Lady Di is Lady Di. And Hannah, I don't know if it's a concubine. I actually suspect that Kent is not sleeping around with his followers. I actually think he probably isn't. And even among cult leaders, that's not exactly unique. Like, in fact, even L. Ron Hubbard, who had a personal retinue of teenage girls, even the ones who left the Church of Scientology, none of them even claimed that he attempted to sleep with any of them. So, well, yeah, he just marries them. But he does marry them at least serially and not in some kind of group. So, for all his faults, I don't actually think that Kent is sexually coercing his followers. Well, yeah, he's probably not legally married to wife number 3, but I don't know any of the details there. So,
Joachim Neander, from the valley was named Neander Valley, and he wrote the song "Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of Creation."
Is that the song he just mentioned?
Yep. I decided to hum it, even though I don't think dinosaurs can hum. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure they can because I just heard it.
That's a good point. Yeah, you just heard it happen, so.
He found,
And it wasn't lines on
in his
paper.
valley where they found it.
It was sound in my
Neanderthals
ears.
were long portrayed as ape men stooped over. This misconception was largely the result of a faulty reconstruction by a French paleontologist, Marcel Bouel, who mistook the skeleton of a man with kyphosis, hunchback, for an ape man in the process of becoming upright.
No. Neanderthals weren't stooped in posture. I don't even know what your argument is. That's not...
The Neanderthals are still listed in the textbooks today as part of the evidence for evolution. Proven wrong long time ago. You guys are really so desperate for your theory, you'll lie to protect it.
Wait. Hold up. Hold the phone. He just said that Neanderthal was listed as an ancestor for modern humans. Let's look at that picture he has up, where it says H. sapiens Neanderthal, which means that this book was published probably in the 80s, when the idea that Neanderthals were a subspecies of Homo sapiens was still prevalent. It's no longer that case. But, hey, Bent.
Yeah.
What is that little brown thing sticking down, pointing down right over at Neanderthal? Is that like a fork in the path?
I think it's a line on a paper.
Okay, but do you think it looks like a fork in that path, though?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely cutting off to the right.
Huh. So it's almost like this book of biology from whenever, 1981 or whatever, isn't saying that Neanderthals are the ancestor of modern humans, but rather they branched off from a common ancestor with modern humans, which is still the current consensus, which means that Homo neanderthalensis is not an ancestor for modern humans.
Kent actually said Neanderthal, not
Well,
tall,
I'm going to pronounce it
'Cause-
correctly because
because he's making up his own species.
that's
again.
Well, okay.
He
Look,
just makes up his own words.
look. Here's the thing.
Why not?
The Neander Valley is in France, and the word Neanderthal ultimately derives from French, and so it should be pronounced in the French way if you want to be super correct. But here's the thing: if you're a native English speaker and you want to pronounce that th with a whatever, that's fine. Look,
But you would think a doctor of dinosaurs who's heard the term so many times. I mean, how many other scientists say Neanderthal
I don't
on
know
a regular basis?
Probably some, but not many. At least not many that are actually.
It's not that big a
specialists.
deal, but it's just
No.
it's one of those
The-
little things that shows he doesn't know what he's talking about.
The bigger deal to me is the fact that he says that the textbooks say that Neanderthals are an ancestor of humans, and then he shows a picture directly depicting Neanderthals not being an ancestor of modern humans. Explicitly not an ancestor. Like almost every single slide that he has shown has either done nothing to help his case or has directly contradicted what he said. It's just crazy.
Brains are 13% bigger than modern man. Average male I think 300 Neanderthal skeletons have been found now. Same as people today. Average height, 5'9". Same as today. Females, 5'3". There are scores of differences in the skulls between humans and apes. Many, many differences. Wild differences, okay? Let's see. There's a gorilla skull, a human skull. The skulls are very different. Humans have a brain about 13 to 1,400 grams. Chimpanzees,
Bye, Cedric.
400.
I'm glad you made it.
Orangutans,
It was
400.
great having you.
No animal, none of these ape-like creatures have anything similar to a human, anything.
Oh, it's in Germany? Alright. Translator. Is the Neander Valley in Germany, or is it like in Alsace-Lorraine? Or is it like in some kind of weird part of Belgium or something? I don't actually know. I just know that the word itself, Neanderthal, is ultimately derived from French, but...
Close to size of a human brain.
Why are we putting in baboons? Baboons aren't even apes. Doesn't matter.
The skulls are
Kent
completely
doesn't know
different.
that.
Oh.
There's a human skull. There's what's that one? The gorilla skull.
No amount of difference between gorilla skulls and human skulls matters, Ken, until you can define what an ape is.
Jack Cawazzo did a fabulous book on this.
Oh, and we got Alum, who points out that Neanderthals did mix with Homo sapiens later, and that's true. There is, so the average European has between 1 and 5% of their DNA ultimately from Neanderthal ancestry. In fact, Bent, you have some Neanderthal genes, don't you?
I'm gonna pull it up, and I don't remember exactly how much it was.
I mean, obviously, I don't have any Neanderthal genes because I'm a dinosaur.
You couldn't,
Right.
because that's not how evolution works.
Right. I'm a dinosaur. That's way too
Dapper
divergent.
dino.
Right.
Come on, man.
But I'm just saying, don't you have something that makes you less likely to be allergic to something or other because of
I have 247 genetic variants that can be traced to the Neanderthals.
Okay. And doesn't one of them make you less susceptible to sneezing after chocolate or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember. I'm less likely to sneeze after eating dark chocolate.
Well, there you go. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you, Neanderthals. And I also all believe that French for valley is valet, but Neanderthal, I don't think the tall part is from the word for valley. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. Despite the fact that je parle français, and je suis drunk, I don't care that much. It should be pronounced with a t, not a th, but it also doesn't matter.
We sell that book now? We need to get that and carry it. We used to before. It's just a matter of being able to afford the inventory. But Jack Cawazzo spoke at our boot camp years ago. You can still get his teachings on it in our boot camp DVD.
I went to one boot camp. I don't want to go to yours.
They took the same Neanderthal skull and gave it
They
to
have
9
Dinosaur
different
boot camp?
artists and said, what did it look like?
Yes.
They got 9 very different drawings. How do you want it to look? Do you want it to look ape-like or human-like? Neanderthal skulls from Pech-de-Alais-Lam, whatever it is. I took a year of French.
Was it a half year or a year?
Pêche de Laz, de Moustier, de Chapelle au Saint. It's not that hard. I failed a year of French, and I can still get it.
It's pretty good for a dinosaur.
Merci beaucoup.
It took me further than I took it.
What does that mean?
They reconstructed the jaw
doesn't mean
1 inch
anything.
out of the socket to make it look more ape-like. They had moved the jaw forward an inch and sloped the bones on the maxillary. And Dr. Cawazzo, who's a dentist, went over there and looked at the skull and said, guys...
Oh, he's a dentist, not, say, a comparative anatomist or an evolutionary biologist or any of those things? Got it.
The jaw's out of the socket by an inch. He put it back in the socket and resloped the bones, and it looked human. They got so angry at him, they tried to kill him.
I'm going to call bullshit. I don't think attempts were made on his life.
You think they didn't try to kill him?
Yes.
I don't know. Kent said they tried to kill him.
Well, I mean, Ken has never lied about anything ever.
Chased him around Europe. Yeah, read the book. Humans and apes' skulls are very different from each other. The brains are very different.
I like how he didn't even try to find something that didn't have an obnoxious watermark for that image. Wait, why are you showing an entire cladogram of mammalia with the brains? And what's the next closest thing to human?
I can't even see.
Galago? I don't even know what the crap that is. Someone do a Google search for Galago. Galago? What the heck is a galago? Galago? I don't even know how to pronounce that. It's a bush baby. Okay. That's the closest thing that this cladogram has to a human. The next closest thing after that is a freaking shrew. A tree shrew. Okay, fair enough. So, and then it has 2 glears after that. So, what is the point?
Just lines on a paper, man.
It is lines of the paper, but it's so few and spread over such a ridiculously wide taxonomic range that it's literally only got 1 ape on it. Why don't you show a cladogram with brains of all the primates, Kent, or just a selection of the primates, or just all the apes, or just all the great apes? Oh, probably because, 1, it would take too much work for you to do that because you had to do it yourself, and 2, because it wouldn't demonstrate what you wanted to. I'm going to go out on a great, crazy limb and say that that's why.
They've got them in the textbooks, all the different types of brains of all the different
And yeah, Alan says it's tarsier, yeah.
animals. Let's see, we have the rabbit, the shrew. Wow, all of them have a common ancestor, 250 million years ago. Human and chimp skulls compared. Brain structure. Chimp's brain is much smaller, 400 versus 1400. I would say that is much smaller. It has a reduced frontal lobe. There's no Broca's convolution. Broca's convolution is the part of the brain that allows you to speak.
I'm not sure that's true, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I've never heard that phrase before.
Yeah.
Broca's area. Okay, yeah. I haven't heard convolution.
Oh. Okay. Well, I'm not going to say that has to be a mistake there. Whatever. The Neander Valley is in Dusseldorf. Yeah, that's definitely in Germany. All right, well, you know what? I don't speak much German. I can read a little bit of Dutch and a tiny, tiny bit of, like, Norwegian. I've never even tried to read Faroese, but I bet I could probably read a tiny bit of that, too. However, if you put me in front of a Romance language, or, well, a Western Romance language, I can usually make out the text. So there's that. I don't know.
It's pretty good for a dinosaur.
Hey, I mean, I speak English pretty well for a dinosaur. Most dinosaurs can't speak English at all.
I can barely speak English, and I'm not even a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Some people call it the Broca's area.
Hmm.
Broca's area.
Quit copying me.
Region of the frontal
Okay.
lobe of the dominant hemisphere, usually the left, of the brain, which focus.
Okay, so hold on. Chimpanzees don't have this area. I'm looking at the 2 pictures. It actually kind of looks like they sort of do.
No, there's just a big hole there. You can't see it because...
Or if they don't,
I don't know.
then they have something that's pretty close to it. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to call BS.
Some people call it the Broca's area.
Translator, your romance is your specialty or a specialty? I don't know. So, I wouldn't say that Romance languages are my specialty so much as that they're just so closely related that if you know one or two fairly well, it's really not that hard to read other ones. So, like, I have pretty decent ability to read French and a somewhat less but still pretty good ability to read Spanish. And then one day I was like looking through Wikipedia, and the English article wasn't very good, the Spanish article wasn't very good, the French article wasn't very good, but the Catalan article was great. So I just read that and realized suddenly, oh hey, I can read Catalan. And then I started reading like Italian, and I was like, oh hey, I can kind of do this too. I haven't tried reading Romansh yet, but I'm pretty optimistic. So yeah, Portuguese I'm not super great at. But I just think that's because the spelling conventions in Portuguese have changed a bit. I don't know.
Broca's area. Region of the frontal lobe of the dominant hemisphere, usually the left, of the brain, which focuses linked to speech production.
Ooh.
What makes our brains special? Well, we have 1.85% brain to body weight. All the other animals have a whole lot less than that.
It's all the
Chimpanzees, 0.84. Now you claim, Mr. Nelson, humans are apes. Well, the skull is very different. The brain is very different.
Mm-mm.
Right.
My brain is the same as itself. So.
Well, okay. Let's say that human brains are super different from other non-human ape brains. Okay. Let's say they're completely different. Until you define what an ape is, it doesn't matter. That's like saying, oh, hey, look, this book isn't a Bible because it has a different kind of cover from your Bible, Bent.
What?
Okay, well, guess what? Bible, whether or not something's a Bible, is determined by what kind of cover it has. So you have to define an ape. We're now, like, over an hour and a half into this, and you haven't defined an ape. Brain imaging studies have hinted that the Broca's area tend to be larger in one half of the chimpanzee brain. Oh, Maya just actually determined that, yep, chimpanzees do have Broca's areas, and they're not symmetrical from one half to the other, just like in humans. Oh, Maya, thank you so much. That was the greatest. Here, this next drink is for you, Maya. Just because you come along. Also, if I'm pronouncing anyone's name wrong, like, yell at me in the comments or something. Or in the chat. I don't know. Whatever. Just yell at me. Here you go. Cheers, Maya. Let's see. Translator has working knowledge of about 8 languages, but Romance is the family that is most represented in that group. I mean, it's a pretty handy language group to know. It really is. I took Arabic in college, though. Got all A's. Don't know much of it. I am pronouncing it correctly. Aww. Let's keep going.
The face is very different. No, Mr. Nelson. We are not apes, and they are not human. Artist reconstruction from the same skull. You can make it look any way you want. You want it ape-like or human-like. Get the book by Jack Cawazzo, The Neanderthals, about that. Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalis, Homo sapien neanderthalis.
Okay, look, it's fine if you say Neanderthal. I'm not going to complain too much. But if you're going to say Homo neanderthalis, I feel like you just missed a couple letters in there, Kent. It clearly says Homo neanderthalensis. And there's a pronunciation that says, in the actual International Phonetic Alphabet, Neanderthal. Yeah. Or orthal. So, okay. They're okay with that. Okay.
I'm not.
But the UK pronunciation says Neanderthal. Although I'm suspicious about that R. But whatever. It's a loose transcription. So we'll give it to them. Kent, you don't even know the International Phonetic Alphabet. Get wrecked.
An extinct species or subspecies of archaic humans that lived in Eurasia 400,000 to 40,000 years ago. Neanderthal. It's big in the textbooks. They're desperate for any kind of evidence, okay? Commonly called Neanderthal, its closest relative.
Although I have to admit, I somewhat pretentiously say Neanderthal rather than Neanderthal, which probably sounds the same to everyone, but whatever. Yep. IPA. International Phonetic Alphabet. It's a thing.
to humans. Both Neanderthals and anatomically modern humans were initially thought to have evolved from Homo erectus. It emerged 1.8 years ago, 1.8 million years ago.
8 years. Oh,
Homo neanderthalis. It's in
1.8 years ago.
it's a long time.
That's never mind. That's a
all the
stupid thing.
textbooks. Google it.
Everyone speaks incorrectly.
Thousands and thousands of
He
hits
corrected
on it.
himself immediately, but
What's
it
the
was
truth
funny
about
when he
these
said
things?
it.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm not going to hold that against him. I misspeak too.
Neanderthals. Do you have itchy eyes? Do you have a sneezing problem? Maybe blame that allergy on the Neanderthals. Oh, so you inherited it.
Yeah.
Neanderthal genes live on in our hair and skin. Whoa, you have Neanderthal hair. Who would have thunk it?
Bent, do you have Neanderthal hair?
Let me check.
He's checking.
I can't tell.
Okay, well, I want to point out I don't have any hair, so yeah.
Do you have feathers?
No.
You have a monocle, right?
I do have a monocle.
What else do you need?
I actually have a name for my monocle, and if anyone can guess it, I will give them a wrench. Except for Nikki, who already has a wrench, and Bent, who already has a wrench. And you guys don't get to guess. But anyone who can guess the name of my monocle gets a wrench.
Wow. Scientists know that a small percentage of human genes come from Neanderthals. Wow. Genetic studies on Neanderthal and ancient DNA became possible in the late 1990s. You can Google all about Neanderthals. Well, before the flood came, the Bible teaches clearly that people lived to be over 900 years old. I mean, that's what it says.
Whoa!
Average age before the flood is
By the way, I'm way older than 900. And
Yeah.
Susan, you are incorrect. It is not called third eye.
912. After the flood, it drops off to 400, and then 200, and then 100. Well, it's a simple fact. The bones of your face constantly grow. Chewing makes your masseter muscle pull on the cheekbone, and the temporalis muscle and the frontalis muscle. You're always using these.
Okay. Bent, I'm not a human, so I can't check this.
Okay.
Can you make chewing actions with your jaw while
Yes.
holding your hands up to your temporalis muscles, which are the ones above your eyebrows?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to tell me if they significantly contract while you make chewing actions.
No.
Okay, so no matter what Ken is about to say about chewing causes the brow ridges to grow larger, he's wrong.
Right.
Okay, and Maya, by the way, is not called my monocle. I'll give you everyone a hint. It's a pun. The name of my monocle is a pun, and if no one guesses it by the end of the stream, I will reveal it.
What?
I know.
Muscles.
Breaking
And when you
news.
pull on the bone enlarges. Bodybuilders know that. They build their muscles. They got to also be careful to build their bone, or the muscle will just tear the piece of bone right off.
I
I
like
feel
how it
weird,
says-
like
They get
grabbing my
little
forehead and
Does
energetic
chewing.
in
does
their
that say
weightlifting.
flathead Indian?
How chewing gave
That's
humans flat faces,
kind of
little
insulted.
teeth, and wimpy jaws. Well,
Well, he doesn't care.
big eyebrow ridge is proof we're part ape. Guy came to the meeting one time years ago. He said, in Philadelphia, he said, Brother Hovind, get a picture of me from the side. Look at that hair. I'm a Neanderthal. Oh,
I want to point out that while he says when he's a Neanderthal, he has a prominent chin, something Neanderthals didn't have. And also, there's no reason to think that Neanderthals were significantly more or less hairy than other humans, so I don't even know. The whole thing is stupid.
okay. Okay. Let's see. Dave Harbor, does that look like big eyebrow
The
ridge?
flood.
That looks extremely not like a Neanderthal, because that forehead isn't sloping even a little bit, and that is quite a chin. So, yeah. Also, I really hope Jim Harper actually just went to the upside down and didn't die. So, season 4, we'll see what happens.
Hasn't quite evolved as far as the rest of us. 20 physical traits you may have inherited from Neanderthals. Oh, okay. What is the bump on the back of the skull called?
It's called an occipital bun. Let's see what happens when Kent says it.
You get that back of your skull, the occipital bun?
Oh, he
from
said it right!
Neanderthals, Really?
What?
All the different
What?
muscles attached to the back.
I
the
am
trapezius,
impressed,
fat attached
Kent.
to the
That is
skull,
me being
and they're
drunkenly
constantly pulling
honest.
on the bone up there, which elongates the head over time. You bend down, you pull your head back up. Well, if you live to be 300 or 400 or 500, your head would get longer.
I like how he says that, but so few of those muscles actually attach to any kind of occipital bun in his image. Once again, your image does not help your case, Kent.
And you'd have the same skull as a Neanderthal. The bone senses small changes and can grow dramatically in the months after starting exercise in order to reduce the risk of breaking. Near the joints, bones get bigger and more dense, whereas bone shafts tend to get bigger and thicker with little change in bone density.
Hey, you know what a cranium doesn't have either of?
What?
Joints or bone shafts.
What?
Ooh, just for the heck of it, my monocle is named Deinonychus, as in Deinonychus. I like that, and if I hadn't thought of that, I might have named it that, but it's not that. So, the pun is not dinosaur related.
So the Neanderthal skulls are just simply normal humans, probably over 200 years old. That's all.
That's stupid. That's just stupid. And I mean, look at the person he's showing here. Okay, prominent brow ridges. Fair enough. But also prominent chin, not present in Neanderthals, and no evidence of any significant occipital bun. This is not a Homo Neanderthal individual that you're looking at.
People have a large supraorbital ridge today, the eyebrow. What if you found his skull? What would he be classed as?
He's classed as Homo sapiens.
Dr. Swift spoke at our boot camp a couple of weeks ago. By the way, I don't know what those videos getting ready? The DVD series on the boot camp that we did? Who's putting the slides in though? Working on it. Okay. Quit sleeping and get it done. Right. Many scientists that study human evolution now classify Neanderthals as a separate human species.
Yep.
Just normal human. Professor Rainer Prach von Zeiten lied about the age of Neanderthal skulls and artifacts for 30 years. A university panel exposed his frauds and he resigned in February 2005.
Was it a creationist university? Because if it wasn't, I don't care.
See, the brow ridge never stops growing.
Yes, it does, Kent. All of your bones stop growing. Oh my god.
After examining the Neanderthal Rhodesia man, Dr. Coazo said, "You must understand, this skull cries out disease. The teeth are badly decayed. The bones of the vault of the skull are extremely thick. There are many features that testify of acromegaly. Acromegaly is a disease. People have had that today. How many have ever heard of Andre the Giant?
I have.
Acromegaly makes your facial features look funny and your bones look funny. Acromegaly.
Okay.
Cro-Magnon man is perfectly modern in every.
Okay, so is Kent saying that Andre the Giant is a Neanderthal, or that Neanderthals were giants? Because they weren't. I don't understand why bringing Andre the Giant into this matters. Also, would anyone like a peanut? If you don't get that, I hate you.
Whoa! You should get that.
You should get that.
If a dinosaur knows that, you should know that.
Exactly. And no more rhymes. I mean it.
Respect. So why is he put in the books as a missing link anyway? Still in there.
Reminds me of Kent using a lot of words that don't mean what he thinks it means.
I like this. Why is Cro-Magnon Man still put in there as a missing link? And then he circles the last person on the image. The one that represents modern humans. How is that a missing link? One, it's not missing, and it's not a link to anything. It's the end point in this progression that you're showing us. Ha! Oh, my head's gonna pop. Oh my god.
Cro-Magnon man as evidence for evolution. So is Australopithecus afarensis, better known as Lucy. Found in 1973.
What?
I found the cave.
You just said Homo or Australopithecus afarensis, and now you're gonna say also known as Lucy, while switching to a slide that has a different species name. Oh.
The skull was found in was no more than 3/4 million years old, they said. How do you know the age of a cave? Okay. It's unfortunate that Dart had no access to skulls of infant chimpanzees, gorillas, or orangutans of an age corresponding to that of the Tang skull. For had such material been available, he would have realized the posture and poise of the head.
Okay, a few things. The Tang child, as it's commonly known, was not a member of Australopithecus africanus or afarensis or any Australopithecus species. It was a member of Homo erectus, found in China. Further, I don't know what the point of having... Okay, look. The skulls of infant apes in general more strongly resemble the adult skulls of Homo sapiens than they do the adult skulls of their actual species. But this is an example of what's called neoteny, which is the retention of juvenile characteristics in the adult form. Humans are extremely neotenous in many ways, one of which is their dentition, another one of which is the general skull shape, as well as the thickness of their hair. The fact that you have pointed out that an infant ape that is not a modern human, but is still a member of the human genus, Kent, the Tang child being a member of Homo erectus, as an infant, has a skull that more closely resembles modern Homo sapiens than it does modern, pan species, is in no way surprising, especially since it was a human skull. Okay, here we go.
The shape of the jaws and many details of the nose, face, and cranium, which he relied for proof, was actually nearly akin to man.
It was man. It was a Homo erectus.
He thought, but they were essentially identical with conditions met in the infant, gorilla, and chimpanzee. So he didn't find a missing link.
How does a chimpanzee give birth to a non-chimpanzee? It doesn't. It just doesn't.
Our comparison of the profile and full face of Tang specimen with corresponding views of human and arthropod skulls, anthropoid skulls, arthropod, they're going to hang me on that one, leaves no doubt as to the true anthropoid status of Australopithecus. It's a monkey.
Australopithecus? How about Australopithecus?
That's too difficult.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Oh, my... Does Ken know that neoteny is a thing? I mean, almost certainly not. I doubt that Kent has even heard the word. But, speaking of neoteny, if you want to see something that is adorably neotenous, that isn't a mammal, check out the axolotl. It's a kind of salamander from Mexico. It's adorable. You'll thank me later.
That in all its essential characters, it is a true anthropoid ape. But Australopithecus afarensis is still listed as one of the missing.
Kent, you just had Australopithecus africanus on screen. Holy crap. Australopithecus afarensis and africanus aren't the same species. You can tell because they're not named the same thing. Oh.
Links. What does it mean to be human? Australopithecus is in there. It's a missing link.
It's not missing because we found it. It's right there. You can look at the bones.
Australopithecus, you can just Google it for yourself. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
One of the
I can
evidences
Google it for
evolution.
myself.
And they know it's an ape.
Crap.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I just have a passing thought. That's why they killed the Aborigines.
Right.
Aborigines used to chew on bark, and their jaws were a lot stronger and thicker.
They would actually kill Aborigines just to get their skulls from museum displays.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They did that too.
Unreal what happened in Australia. They killed all of them in Tasmania, I believe. Every single Aborigine.
All right, look. There were absolute atrocities committed by European colonists and naturalists and whatever to Australia, because it is in fact true that Australian Aborigines have, as far as Homo sapiens go, unusually prominent brow ridges. And it is disgusting what people did to a lot of Aborigines during the period of the European colonization of Australia. And I do not want to minimize that. But the fact that they're using this to promote their nonsense is honestly kind of insulting to the memory of those slaughtered people who were completely innocent and did in no way deserve that. And I hope they stop talking about it soon, because if they don't, I might just stop the video.
Was killed. Many just to get their skulls or bones from museums.
I do appreciate, though, that he's not okay with this. I appreciate that. That Kent does not agree with the wholesale slaughter of Aboriginal Australians to put their bones in museums. So, kudos to you, Kent, for not being okay with that. But using it to support your nonsense is not okay.
Evil. Anyway, there's also Epithecus afarensis, Lucy, still in the textbooks. They found 40% of the skeleton, no feet at all, no hands at all. Donald Johanson found it. He'd gone to
I like how he says no hands at all, and then his slide while he says that has a metacarpal.
Yeah.
Just gonna point that out.
Africa on a grant to find missing links. 2 weeks before his grant money ran out, he found Lucy. I think there's a little suspicion there, but maybe not. They named it Lucy because they were listening to the Beatles song at the time while they're digging out the bones, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, as the initial.
Oh, let me guess. It spells out LSD. Oh, he already clicked the slide. Damn it. Oh, Kent, a thing named after a thing that has initials of LSD means the thing is fake or stupid or I don't know.
Initials LSD, by the way. The skull was crushed. They couldn't find any, couldn't put it together any way you want with those kind of fragments of bones. Lucy, a marvelous specimen, really. This is not really Lucy's knee. It's the Hadar knee found.
It is the Hadar knee, and no one ever claimed it was Lucy's knee.
A year earlier, 70 meters lower and a mile away. But they put it with Lucy.
No, they didn't.
How fast was the train going that hit that chimpanzee anyway? The guy in Talk Origins writes and says, well, you ought to read his article very carefully.
Since when are the Beatles not on LSD? I mean, I can't say for certain, but look, they made some good music, so if the LSD is responsible for that, then thank you, LSD.
So be it.
Mm-hmm.
Carefully. He's careful the way he words it to make it look like the Christians are telling a lie when we're not, okay? Creationists have been making
The Christians, as if he speaks for Christians. Christians out there, don't worry, I do not think that Kent Hovind speaks for you.
claim that Donald Johanson found the knee joint, a 40% complete skeleton, in a location 60 to 70 meters lower and 2 to 3 kilometers away. I tried to call Willis today, couldn't get a hold of him. They have sometimes gone on to add the claim that only under questioning did Johanson admit the knee was found over a mile from Lucy. To the best of our knowledge, this admission has not appeared in print. Well, just because he confessed it while he's at a lecture and he didn't put it in print, therefore it didn't happen?
No, Kent, what they're saying is that he at no point admitted to presenting this knee as Lucy's knee. That's what they're telling you. He never admitted to saying, oh, this was Lucy's knee, because he didn't.
The claim is used by creationists to show that evolutionists are dishonest and Lucy did not walk upright. It successfully shows neither of these things because it's false. The claim is not only false, it is clearly shown to be false in Johansson's published writings about Lucy. He pointed out about the knee joint. You can read all that for yourself. The knee joint from Hadar, 2009. BecomingHuman.org has a big article about that. So they're going to be taught that, the kids are going to be taught in school that Lucy is evidence for evolution when it's nothing but a chimpanzee-type animal. It's not at all.
It's not a chimpanzee-type animal, Kent, unless by chimpanzee-type animal you just mean ape. Lucy was extremely dissimilar from a modern chimpanzee. Like, the skull was broadly similar, but not even very similar. It's just not a chimpanzee.
Evidence for evolution. The knee joint is very different. See, he said the femur was angled, proving Lucy's becoming a human. Ape's leg is straight. The upper and lower leg bones are in a straight line. Humans go off at an angle because your hips are wider than your knees when you walk.
And are you going to draw that line through the Lucy knee, which looks like it's intermediate between the chimpanzee that you've labeled ape and man?
He said Lucy's knee is angled. Okay. Any
Oh, he didn't. Funny.
monkey that climbs trees has an angled.
That's not even an old world monkey, Kent. Do you not even understand the basic divisions between monkey clades?
Kent doesn't believe in clades,
But
and he won't
But
believe
he
in clades.
does believe in clades, though, because he believes that all canines have a common ancestor. He believes all equids have a common ancestor. Which means he has to believe in clades.
Oh, those are just kinds, though.
But I hate you.
That's just what he'd say. I mean,
I know, but I still hate you. This is the last ever Kent with bent. No, that's probably not true.
No, it's not true.
It's not true.
Femur. He just found a tree climbing monkey, that's all. He said Lucy's knee was slightly bigger than a regular ape. So, bones of a Clydesdale are slightly bigger than a regular horse, too.
Yeah, but that's because the Clydesdale is just a scaled up horse, Kent. Lucy wasn't a scaled up chimpanzee. She was about the same size as a chimpanzee. Oh, Maya, you are so right. More scotch. Oh, you are my muse right now, Maya. I'm pouring scotch right now into this cup. Scotch, scotch, scotch. Down it goes into my belly. I love scotch.
Still a horse. No, that proves it's evolving into a truck. Yeah, okay. And there are big horses.
What? How did trucks? Oh, Maya, you weren't here when I announced what I was drinking. I'm drinking Glenlivet 14 single malt Scotch whiskey cognac cask selection. It is about $70 a bottle, and by bottle I mean 750 milliliters. I probably have consumed $40 worth of scotch right now. So, oh my god, I'm gonna be hungover tomorrow.
And little horses today. St. Louis Zoo put human
I
feet
finished my
and
wine a
hands
long
on
time
their
ago.
display. Not a single bone from the hand or feet was found.
Yeah, as we've gone over, Kent, hands and feet from other specimens of Australopithecus afarensis were found.
This is not for education. This is for indoctrination. Professor Minton at Washington University near St. Louis said, the statue is a complete misrepresentation. And I believe they know it is a misrepresentation. The zoo director responded. He said, zoo officials have no plans to knuckle under. We cannot be updating every exhibit based on every new piece of evidence. We look at the overall exhibit and the impression it creates. We think the overall impression this exhibit creates is correct. So I checked today, July 7th. Lucy's display still there with human feet, even though they're hairy. Not a
So, hobbit feet. Got it.
single foot bone was found, and certainly no skin
Yeah, not of Lucy, but of other Australopiths, Kent. Oh.
in her hair. They found footprints, perfectly normal human footprints, but they said, wow, this is an ash that's 3.75 million years old. The footprints are described as remarkably similar to modern man.
Yeah, the only evidence we have for Australopithecine footprints are those footprints from I can't even speak anymore. Forget it. I'm just gonna hit play.
The form of his foot was exactly the same as ours. Weight-bearing pressure patterns in the prints resemble human ones. Footprints so very much like our own, Mary Leakey said. Okay. Found normal human footprints.
There it is, Laetoli. That's the word I couldn't say because of scotch and Kent making my brain hurt. The scotch is literally just to dull my brain so that Kent stupid doesn't make me want to kill myself. And it's almost working.
As if a person had gone barefoot all their life, their foot widens out. Yep.
Oh, Zachary says facepalm protection I think may be needed. I would need facepalm protection if my hands could reach my face, but being a Ceratosaurus, they really can't. I'm safe from that. But all you crazy apes out there, get some facepalm protection.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
I should have looked that up. I don't know the distance between them. It wouldn't matter. People can be 2 inches apart and still not be the same person, you know? Okay.
What was... it doesn't matter. That was a silly question. I don't care.
Russell Tuttle did the most extensive study of the Laetoli footprints, as well as studying footprints of more than 70 habitually barefoot people. People go barefoot all their life. The 3.5 million year old footprints trails at Laetoli Site G resemble those of habitually unshod modern humans. None of their features suggests the Laetoli hominids were less capable bipeds than we are. They could walk on 2 just like us. Interesting.
Hooray!
If the G footprints were not known to be so old, we would conclude they were made by a member of our own genus. Boy, if we didn't know they were so old, we'd think a human made them.
Oh, what is the point of saying that? And also, if he's like, oh, they were completely modern human footprints, well, look at that, what he's showing right there. That's pretty darn vague. Like, honestly, you can't even make out the exact anatomy of the human foot in that. Saying that they were exactly like modern human footprints is a little bit of a stretch. But whatever. This is the guy who thinks that some of the theropod footprints from the... Oh, now I can't even remember it. But it's from like a Jurassic footprint bed are human, and they're just not. Paluxy River. The Paluxy River. This is from a guy who supports the idea that the Paluxy River footprints were human, even though they were obviously theropods. So, I guess this is a guy who just doesn't know what human footprints are.
Wake up, guys. Wake up.
Oh, I'm awake. That's part of the problem.
So National Pornographic put dark-skinned, ape-like creatures walking on top of the footprints. And they added the toe separation.
I'll agree with you, Kent. They shouldn't have put up toe separation. Continuing.
Why would they do that? Didn't have that.
Also, is it me, or do those Australopithecines in this picture look ridiculously spindly?
Can't tell.
They look like they're starving. Guys, go find something to eat. Sorry, that's just... Also, the whole dark skin thing, yeah, they lived near the equator, Kent. So either they were furry or they had dark skin. The only reason that this would be a problem is if you think that dark skin is a bad thing, Kent. Which, spoiler alert, it's not.
Well, they know an ape's toe sticks out to the side. Ray Comfort's toes stick a long line to the rest of them, okay? And yours do too, by the way, all a straight line. Lucy's new fossil cousin shows path to human walking took many turns.
Oh, hey, look! Australopith foot bones that were actually found! Oh my goodness! Kent already knew about his lies. Before he told them. Here's the evidence. Kent was lying. I'm so shocked.
They keep pushing this idea that apes have turned to humans. Like you do, Mr. Nelson, that humans are apes. They happen to be identical to a common gorilla's foot.
I'm sorry, those were not identical to a gorilla's foot, but whatever.
But National Geographic ran 4 million years of bipedalism, put all the different missing links, the monkeys, etc. But look at the feet on all of them. All of them have human feet, don't they? Now, why would they do that?
Because the evidence points that way? I don't know.
Here's the foot of a gibbon, a orangutan, a human, but not here.
Wow, way to skip over all the other ones, but whatever.
All human feet. This is deceitful. Cancel your subscription to National Geographic.
Yeah, it's almost like the evidence pointed towards bipedality long predating the increase in encephalization of the brain. Oh no! Scientists are adapting their picture of reality to conform to the evidence. Oh, scientists are assholes.
Where's Tanzania from Ethiopia?
Well, as Kent says, you got to
Tanzania
pick a
to-
story and then just stick with it, no matter what,
I mean, yeah, that is his
because that's what he
MO.
does.
That is his MO. That's true.
Ethiopia, oh, long ways. It's on the globe here. The various Australopithecines are indeed more different from both apes and humans in most features than the latter are from each other. It's not the same. So they think Lucy-type creatures might be alive and well in Sumatra.
No, they don't. But it doesn't matter.
Then they've got the Peking Man. We cover all this on video number 2 of my seminar series. All evidence disappeared of the Peking Man.
No, Kent. The original, quote, Peking Man fossil, or fossils, because it was different parts of a skeleton, were in fact destroyed during World War II. But it turns out that the cave in which it was found was an exhausted of fossils, and other Homo erectus fossils were found in the same cave. So while, yeah, sure, the original bones were gone, we have other examples from the same presumed time and definite place as the original Peking fossils. Also, Peking is the same place as Beijing. Romanizing Chinese is stupid.
There were 10 humans found with the monkey bones. Some cultures, they like to eat monkey brains. You know, watch Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is definitely an anthropological source of merit. It's basically peer-reviewed.
I reviewed it.
Yeah, exactly. And Bent here is a peer. I don't know what he's a peer in, probably because he's a doctor, but
I'm a peer of Dr. Dino,
yeah, that's true.
in that we're both the same amount of doctor.
You're way more of a doctor than I am. In cancer. So,
Yeah.
They found a bunch of crushed monkey skulls and tools with them. And said, wow, these monkeys are learning to make tools.
they weren't just monkey skulls, Kent. They were Homo here, the human type. The kind of thing that even you would normally recognize as, quote, fully human. Erectus skulls. They weren't like macaque skulls. I mean, yeah, oh yeah, Tomb Raider, is it peer-reviewed now? I wouldn't say it's peer-reviewed, but it's on like the same level as like the Smithsonian magazine. So there you go, Zach. I hope I can call you Zach.
Oh, and they're practicing on their head. Brilliant. Brilliant logic, you guys. Just brilliant. Homo erectus is in the textbooks. First Homo erectus specimen was called Java Man, discovered in 1891 in
I'm suspicious that that was the first Homo erectus, but I'm not sure.
Java. Originally called Pithecanthropus erectus, meaning erect ape man, and now called Homo erectus, and dated by the evolutionists at 500,000 years old. It was made from a few scraps of bone found in 1891.
That doesn't say 500,000, it says 500,000, he said, ignoring math.
He'd gone to Java specifically to look for missing links. That's why he was there. He's a little bit of a prejudiced observer here. He took an ape's skull cap, 3 human teeth, and a thigh bone found a year later 50 feet away from a human, and informed the world he found the missing link.
Even if that story were true, which I'm extremely suspicious that it's not, it still doesn't explain the scores of subsequent Homo erectus finds that demonstrate that it was actually a species of human distinct from our own. So I don't understand why you're going with this, but whatever, let's keep going.
And they were going to use the Java, they did use the Java Man as evidence for evolution in 1925 Scopes monkey trial. If we can find that book, it's in here. The entire court case from Bryan College there in Tennessee. You can get that if you'd like. Rudolf Virchow, who had been one of Haeckel's professors and is regarded as the father of paleontology, said, in my opinion, this creature was an animal, a giant gibbon. In fact, the thigh bone has not the slightest connection with the skull. So he didn't tell anybody. He also found 2 normal human skulls in the same area. I heard, if I read the story right,
What do you mean normal human skull? Or Homo erectus skulls are normal human skulls, Kent. What? That doesn't mean anything. And I'm pretty sure bones of contention, or C bones of contention as you're citing it, even though I know for a fact it's bones of contention because I've looked up that book. Page 86 isn't exactly a peer-reviewed academic paper, but rather it's creationist screed. But unitalicize the word C, Kent, because that's an imperative verb, not part of the title, you idiot.
Also, I think Bones of Contention would be a better band name than Wolf Skull.
Well, I believe someone already said dibs on Wolf Skull, so you better take Bones of Contention.
Son of a gun.
he hid them under his bed for 30 years. Like Telltale Heart, Edgar Allan Poe.
What?
1892 on the island of Java, he found a
What does that have to do with Edgar Allan? I'm done. No, I'm not. I can't even form a coherent sentence that is a response to that. Oh, yeah. Can I just claw my eyes out? No, because I can't reach them with my stupid claws.
Hey, how's that scotch?
It's delicious.
Well, there you go.
thigh bone, which to all intents and purposes was like that of modern humans.
Oh,
About a year
hooray.
earlier in the same location, he found a large skull cap and later 3 teeth. These were not necessarily from the same individual. The skull cap and the leg bone was about 50 feet apart. Oh. Homo erectus. There have been remains of 45 Homo erectus individuals and thousands of tools have been recovered.
Okay, are you going to go through all of them to prove that in each case they were so fragmentary that we can't accurately reconstruct them? Since I know how much of this video we have left, I'm just going to say no.
Well, then if they're using tools, it's a human. How about Java Man?
Well, he's got
Yeah.
to define ape still.
If they're using tools, it's a human. Except you already earlier in this video said that chimpanzees use tools, so that's not even true. But even if it were true, I'm not going to disagree with you that Homo erectus were human, because I agree with Aron Ra that a reasonable definition for the word human is member of the genus Homo. But whatever, let's keep going.
You can just Google any of them you would like. We'll skip this for sake of time. Here we can go forever. But there's not enough evidence, fossil evidence, to answer when, where, and how Homo sapiens emerged. Mr. Nelson, you are teaching your people humans are apes and apes are humans. The fossil evidence of human evolutionary history is fragmentary and open to various interpretations. The evidence of fossils for chimpanzee evolution is absent altogether. Nature magazine. Where are we going? Straight to hell if you don't get saved.
Oh, yeah.
Skull cap in Spain was promoted as the oldest example of man in Eurasia. Later, it was identified as a 4-month-old donkey skull.
Okay.
Jackass made a idiot out of the humans. Okay.
Yeah, some
A
people
dolphin's
fall
rib
for
was labeled
things.
human collarbone and promoted as evidence for evolution.
People
Tim White
misidentified
exposed
things.
the hoax. They had it on display, a dolphin rib. Said it's a human collarbone.
Okay.
How about the Hobbit? That was in the news. Microcephaly, miniature humans, okay? I cover all this on video.
Holy crap, it was not just microcephaly, Kent. Homo floresiensis were not just Homo sapiens with microcephaly. You know how we know? Because their skulls weren't malformed in the way that microcephaly malforms human skulls. They were actually proportionate, as you can tell in the freaking picture you have up. And their other bones weren't disproportionate with their skull, as is the case in microcephaly. Just everything about what you're saying is stupid. But that's not news, so let's keep going.
Video number 2. Sorry, we've got too much stuff in here. Let me get up to the end here. There's a great
You
book
got
called
too much
Bones of
stuff.
Contention by Marvin Lubenow,
But is
where he covers
any
all
of
the
it
so-called
important?
cavemen and how they're simply not cavemen. But they want somehow to think that this is our ancestor. and they worship the so-called cavemen. Only humans have morality, not animals.
Well, we've already established that's not true, but let's keep going.
Yeah. Where's the moral code? Where's the lawgiver? Do they have a judgment? Do they have a court system? Any animal? No, Mr. Nelson, humans are not apes, okay? No ape has a consciousness of right and wrong, anything similar to what humans do.
Well, no, that's extremely untrue, but we've already covered that.
You said humans
Also,
are apes.
it's
No, we're
irrelevant.
not apes, okay? You have a soul and you'll stand before your creator
Like
one
most
day.
of what he's saying.
Kent, is having a soul a definition for ape, or not having a soul a definition for ape? Or what if apes do have a soul? How do you know humans have a soul? You haven't established any of this!
And you getting up and pontificating and dogmatically stating humans are apes, and then you proudly walk off the stage when you finish your 18-minute speech. Some people are probably going to believe you. I feel sorry for them. It's
Yeah. How terrible would it be to believe a guy who backs up his ideas with actual citations to peer-reviewed literature? That would be really crappy for those people, because apparently God wants you dumb. Kent Hovind, 2019.
not true, okay? Bible says, the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith.
Alright, this is where he starts preaching as far as I can tell, so I'm going to stop it. I'm not going to let Kent preach on my channel. Yeah, so I really appreciate everyone who has been watching, and also Bent, Hovind, no relation, for watching with me. I guess it's not no relation, it's just so distant that it doesn't matter. Is that...
We are related, but
Yeah, eventually, but not closely.
no.
Well, I really appreciate everyone. I don't think anyone actually guessed the name of my monocle, so I'm going to say it now, and even if you're chatting now, before I say it, it doesn't count anymore. So, take that. And thank you, Maya. It's always a She says, it's always a pleasure watching Kent live for Jesus with you, and I appreciate that, so... But anyway, the name of my monocle is Monocle Lewinsky. None of you got that, so none of you get the wrench. But that is also now part of Dapper Dino canon, along
That's
with
awesome.
the Triconodon servants. So, yeah, it's Monocle Lewinsky. There you go.
That's pretty great.
It is pretty great. I thought of it myself. You're welcome. I really appreciate everyone who chats and likes and subscribes and shares these videos. I cannot really express, without seeming sappy, how much I appreciate the fact that you guys actually pay attention to me saying whatever crap I'm saying on the internet. I really appreciate it, and I need to get to bed because there has been way more scotch than there should have been. So, thanks again, and I don't even know. I love all of you, and also Maya, get some sleep. What is wrong with you? Go to bed. I'm just kidding. You know I love you. Bent, got any last words?
No, I got nothing. It's great to have everyone here. These are a lot of fun, even when I have no idea what's going on, like today's topic. I just don't know anything about it, so didn't really get to contribute much, but there's things that Kent says that you know he's always wrong, even if you don't know anything about the topic. Little things like the Neanderthal versus Neanderthal, or things that he's corrected on repeatedly that just he refuses to accept that correcting. Anyway, those are the things that stand out to me when I don't really know the topic very well, like today's topic. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Fair enough. Well, Thanks. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all those YouTubey things. I don't know. Also, follow me on Twitter because at least until I get 1,000 subscribers, that is going to be where you can find out about how soon new videos are coming out and such things. I am almost done with the script for my next scripted video. I probably will get the script done tomorrow. And I may even start doing audio tomorrow for that. So the next scripted video should be out in less than a week. So look forward to that. It is about how dinosaur wing, or how wings in general can evolve and what use a half a wing is. So I hope all of you have a great night. And I'm the Dapper Dinosaur.